Kלים Perikei Mishnah Tes. Let's just recap first the din of the previous Mishnah. You can break an oven by slicing it into sections, each less than 4 tvachim. When you do so, the tanur is tahor. You can remake the tanur by adding a new tfela, a new layer of tit, and a new hesek. So miruach vehesek will make a new tanur. Now we have an oven, which is a DIY assembly kit. Tanur sheba mechutach mebeis uman. You buy it from the factory, from the shop, in pieces. And the idea is that you buy it so that you can assemble it. The pieces they're cut horizontally. Sorry, they're cut vertically as in the previous Mishnah. But this time, they're cut in pieces and sections. And you put them together, you put the vertical pieces together, building your oven. After you do that, you're also given what's called limudin. Limudin are sort of bands which you then fix, and screws which you fix round the oven to keep the assembled pieces together. That's how you're building this oven. Of course, after that you will still need your normal mericha and hesek. Let's do the Mishnah. Tanush ba mechutach beis uman comes in pieces, in sections, ready-made from the factory. The idea is that you have to now assemble them together by putting these limudin on, v'osa by limudin, and it comes with limudin, these bands, these rings, which you then stick on to the pieces to make the oven one. Unasonon olov, and you did it. So you put the pieces together, you built this oven, and then you put on these limudim to make the oven one. Says the Mishnah, at this point, v'hu toher. There's different ways of learning these words, v'hu toher. Simple way of learning, at this point, before you've done nothing. All you've done is put the pieces together, put the limudin on. You've done no miruach, no hesek, so the oven is still toher. It's not able to be makabel tumah. You could learn these words. This is how Tiferes Yisrael learns v'hu toher. After you've built your oven and put the rings on, you taka do a miruach, and you taka do your hesek. And of course now it is able to be makabel tumah mekan lahabo. V'hu tor is going on the fact that although these pieces were assembled by an amoretz in the factory, and therefore you might have thought that when you assemble it, it becomes tomei because the amoretz touched the pieces. Kamash malon, that because the amoretz touched the pieces before they were even made, before it was even assembled, it's nothing. It's not chayz v'neir. It doesn't become tomei now that you've assembled it. Whatever happens, the Mishnah is quite straightforward. At this stage, after the words v'hu toher, it means you make the oven, put the zirim on, do your miruach, do your hesek. It is now toher. It is able to be makabel tumah. So now we have a completely newly made oven assembled by the man, by the owner. Says the Mishnah, nitmo. It's now tomei. Became tomei. The sheretz was hung into the toich, and the oven now becomes tomei. V'silek es limudov, and all you do is remove those bands, those brackets that are holding the oven together. So the Mishnah tohor, removing the brackets and taking away those bands, is very similar to the previous case. In the previous Mishnah, you break the oven by slicing it this way. This type of oven is broken by removing those brackets, because now it's back to broken pieces. So far there's a parallel between this Mishnah and the previous Mishnah. The din is quite straightforward. If you take the brackets and you put them back, you put it all together again and fix it together again, it doesn't help, it's toher. Just like in the previous Mishnah we learned that once you've broken an oven like this, the only way you can make it into an oven again is by a new miruach and a new hesek, who are then here. Just putting the pieces together again isn't good enough. You've got to have a new miruach and a new hesek. Well, maybe not a new hesek, as we'll see in the Sefer the Mishnah, but just putting the pieces back together again is not enough. You've got to make the tanur new. Moroche batit, however, if you then, after you put the pieces back, you then do a new miruach, makabel tumah, because now it's a new oven, But here comes the Chiddush of the Mishnah. This is the basic difference between Mishnah Tes and Mishnah Ches. That in Mishnah Ches, after you've broken it, the only way you can make it into an oven again is to do a miruach and a new hesek mamish, like a new tanur. Here says the Mishnah, Ve'ein tzarech lahasikenu. You don't need a new hesek, shekvar husak, because you already had a hesek originally when it came from the factory. What's pshat? This is a problem. In the previous Mishnah, the pieces had also had a hesek before. So why in the previous Mishnah do you need, after you've broken it, do you need a new meruach and a new hesek? And here it says no, a meruach yes, but a hesek you don't need. I think pshat is like this. In the previous Mishnah, when you break the oven and you're trying to now remake those pieces, some of the pieces that you are remaking are actually, you're trying to remake those parts of the oven which have been broken. When you break an oven, there are pieces, the edges where you break it are actually pieces which have never had hesek before. Because when you heat a tanur in an oven, it's the outside that gets heated and the bits inside, of course, don't. The actual material inside, the thickness of the walls of cheres don't get heated. When you break the oven, those edges have never had hesek. So therefore, to make a new oven, you have to have a new tefela, a new miruach, and a new hesek, so that every single piece of the oven, including those new edges which have appeared for the first time after you broke them, they also need a new hesek. But here, the breaking happened just by removing limudim. These limudim came from the original factory, and the pieces you're reassembling now are exactly the same pieces that you had in the original factory. There's the same pieces, the same vertical pieces, and the same brackets, the same rings. There is nothing, there's no edge, no surface that's new. Every single surface here has already been husak in the factory. Therefore, there's absolutely no need, there's no tachlis to a new hesek. And the old hesek is good enough, and that's the chilek between Mishnah Ches and Mishnah Tes.